and he just published his book, Next for Me. So he's going to talk to us about planning our next chapters. What's next for you? Take it away, Jeff.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm an MEA alum from the Diagonal Darlings cohort, which was a 2-week program in the early beta days. And I'm so grateful to be here today with all of you and tell you about the exercises that we published in this book that will help people, hopefully, who are looking for some change in their life in some way. Here it is now. In a lot of ways, our company Next for Me was hatched because of MEA. Back in the days when it was a drone footage over the beach, I remember Chip showing me. And since that time, it's like 2.5, 3 years, we now publish news, guides, and books around the topic of change. We have hosted events across the country, and we're reevaluating that, of course, now. And we also consult with organizations who are trying to understand today's workers and the changes that people are going through. So if you'll bear with me, I will show you a few slides afterwards. I'll get it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, before I get started, can I get an amen? R.I.P. Little Richard. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're on a mission to make your next change your best yet. And we went through some machinations through the last 2.5 years trying to understand, first of all, 50+ workers. And then we got down to the hypotheses that change is something that everybody's going through all the time. And there are some practical things that you can do to make that easier for yourself. And I mean, part of the problem that we see in the world is there's a lot of insecurity and stress about work and financial health and those things, and now more than ever. And so many people are disengaged by the rate of change, and so they're always trying to see what's next, and they can't always get clear around that. So in our book, we cover it in 3 ways. First of all, your philosophical center. Who am I and why do I exist here? And using that as a foundation for defining what's next. And then fresh perspectives, which is a lot of fun. Some of the stuff came out of MEA actually, of different ways of looking at what you're thinking about to open up new opportunities. And then the very tactical things of how do you stay standing while you're going through these kinds of things. At the philosophical side of things, before even defining it, we suggest that you go through some exercises to say what your values are and knowing who you stand for and what are the principles that are important to you, and writing a mission statement either for yourself or for what you're starting or the companies that you may be working with. And then who are the people that you surround yourself with? Do they share your values, and can you trust them in a lot of different situations before you go forward? And then who are you beholden to? We caution about being beholden to too many things or people, because those things can change all of the time. And so next is a lot of the fun part for me, which is based on the ideas of open-mindedness or beginner's mind or meditation, and how that opens up your mind to be receptive to new things. And as part of that, we suggest some exercises around visualization. The idea there is that if you have defined what this ideal scene is that you're going towards, and an opportunity comes to you, you've already seen it, and you're receptive and you're welcoming to that thing. And so it's different for everybody, but we really emphasize that writing is a strong piece of this. You by writing it down, sometimes making it public, you look at things from a very fresh point of view, especially if it's handwritten. The eye to hand coordination is really profound in the way it makes you look at things differently. And for some people, it's drawing, and stick figures can do, or mapping. And in mapping, sort of forming the relationships of different things, you find out things you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then using constraints. What happens if you pull away a component of this thing, this map that you've made? What does that leave you with? And then, of course, because all of us are thinking about where we've been in our lives, you know, use that deja vu. You've done so many things a lot of times ahead of time. So just pull that in and don't be afraid of it, and just don't get hung up on it. And then, you know, now we're certainly looking at how important it is taking care of our minds and our bodies. I come from tech, and so we think about things in the respect of hacking. It's, you know, an engineer will say, okay, these are my limited resources. How can I solve this problem by doing workarounds? And that happens, you know, so much if you're trying to do something new. You don't have all the resources. So how do you think creatively about getting that thing accomplished without all the resources? This was a hard one for me to learn, but I had to start selling, and I should have started selling from day one. I didn't. If you're trying to put yourself out in the world, people need to know what it is you've got, and don't be afraid of it, and don't get hung up on the next webpage update or whatever. Get out there and start selling stuff right away. Be frugal. Don't, you know, pay for everything. You can do a lot of things yourself when you're going through these changes, which plays into the dependencies that you have. One thing could get pulled out from you, and it might change your whole game. And going back to writing, we really believe that you should always be publishing. The way the world works today is, if you want the support of somebody, they're going to be looking for who you are online, out in the world, what you think about what you're doing. And so you might be surprised. This book came out of a year of publishing, and all the ideas started germinating, and then it became one thing, and then it became another thing, all because we kept publishing and putting stuff out there and being sort of vulnerable in that way. And then who's your community? I mean, look at who I'm hanging out with. And then finally, how time is so critical. It really feels elastic right now, and time doesn't have a lot of meaning, but use your time well. We don't have a lot of it. You know, if you're on your way to something, get with it, and don't waste a lot of time. So this is who we are today as a company. We publish video interviews and podcasts. We've done public and now virtual events. We publish resource guides, books, and courses. And for marketers and people trying to understand today's marketplace, we publish market research. We bring on sponsors for our various programs, and we write and write and write, sometimes for other people. So all of this has been kind of captured on this page, nextforme.com/MEA. You can sign up. We'll send you a digital book. We encourage you to buy our book and write reviews on Amazon. That's how the magic works there. And I'm open for questions.